Hello and welcome to Business with Smithco. Today we're going to be talking about advertising media or mediums. So the advertising medium is the way in which the business communicates with it's the way it communicates the marketing sort of message to its consumers. So the aim of it is to target as many customers as possible and pretend to buy the firm's good or services. It also has different features. So there are advantages and disadvantages to each type. There are more people. Some of them are more effective. You'll see all the other things. And some of them are more effective than others. You'll have more of a sort of thing like, I will buy that product. Some are cheaper, and you have to take all these things into effect when you're actually considering which one to go down for. So, first of all, you've got television, radio, social media, newspapers, and then you've got the business's website. So, the advantage of television is that you have the potential to reach a really large target market. There's detailed information can be shown because you've got images and sound, and more than that though, television, you're able to go, there's this particular show, and you may not, obviously, if the show isn't produced originally by those people, then you can't sponsor the show. You can't have like a little thing in the show. But what you can do is, let's say this show is kind of connected to your product. So you can have the advert played directly after that show. This show is always on this television channel at this time. So I want my ad to run at this time after the show. Or, whenever the show is on, after the show. So this is a solution to have there, where you're able to have a little bit more of a say where exactly your advert goes. And that can sort of match up to be like, that was just in the show, something like that. I'll get that product. And there's all these sort of methods you can use to advance this sort of area. Because unlike other methods where, if you've got, other methods are oftentimes a little bit more complicated, like newspapers. Obviously, newspapers will change every day. So, obviously, television will have news as well. But it's like if you've got advertisements in newspapers, well, news will change every day. And you might see, it might be amazing. One day it'll be your competitor is, just taken to court for, falsely claiming things, and that might go badly for you. But then your competitor might be, inferior products, and you'll be like, we have better quality than the competitor. And they'll go, look, it's in the news just there, and although that may look like you kind of paid for that news to be put forward, then there's all these sorts of situations you have here that television is a benefit of. But it also has its disadvantages because it is very expensive. Viewers can just switch channel. They can just go, I don't want to look for the ads. And if there are other channels which are kind of almost in sync with the channel's kind of advertisements, they might be like, okay, yeah, sure, we will have our area here now. We'll show you content now. So not only is there that, but it's not only a problem for the person who's advertising, because people who actually view their ad might be a massive reduction. Let's say people who are viewing the actual show that's on, let's say that's 2 million. But the people who view your ad might be 500,000. And that's the thing. That's a massive difference. And that's not generally going to be recorded because your ad isn't live yet. So these are the situations, especially as it's also a problem for the channel itself. Because let's say something was watching something and the adverts come on, they're like, no, I don't want this. And this is something else. And this is very interesting. So, okay, I'm actually invested in this. And that's how it can damage both people in that way. Now, actually, it also damages, all the viewers, and that can be a thing which annoys a lot of people. But the thing is, it's actually also expensive, as I discussed before, because television is one of those things where it's you can't really advertise unless you're a big company, which in a way is a good thing, because it means that you tend to get rid of these kind of advertisements which are, they're not that great, but of course you could argue, well, it's not like other methods where you don't have many advertisers coming up. Like for a newspaper might not have many advertisers coming up. They may actually theoretically have advertising spaces available, but they're not filled, so they just print and just have news in those spaces instead. So this is the situation you have here, which is you generally have a lot of people coming up forward for TV advertising. So a TV advertisement place will generally be able to pick and choose. So if there's an advertisement which is paying the same as another advertisement, but it's not if it's offensive or it's it's misleading or whatever the case may be, then they can just go, we're not going to run that. We're going to run this advert because they're paying us just as much money as you are, and they're just got a better advert. There's some adverts that are just a bit weird in that way, and that means that the TV station can actually choose that. The same is also true of the radio station. It's because the radio station has this benefit, which is it's able to say TV advertising, but it's cheaper, and in some cases far cheaper. So it's a more effective way to reach the target market, because you have this sort of thing where it's like you can advertise on a global radio station, not a global, actually technically not global, but national radio station, or you can advertise on a local radio station, which means you can kind of pick and choose where your area is, and if you've got an area which you want to advertise to specifically, you can go, okay, we'll pick this radio station and advertise to them. It has most of the advantages of a television, except it's lacking the images. You see, it's easy to that only sound is used in these advertisements. So if you've got an advertisement, you may not be able to just go, okay, we'll take our TV or video advertisement that we have anyway, just as an advertisement. Even if we don't like pay for it to be shown on television, we can just have it up online or something, or just have it available for people to watch. If you have it in your shop, you can have these kind of the advertisements available, and they can kind of encourage people to buy within your own shop. And there's all these other things you have here, which is you can't necessarily just go, okay, let's just cut the pictures and place this video advertisements here as sound. Sometimes you have to record an entire advertisement just for radio, and if you're not advertising that much to radio, well, that can be a problem. Now, there's also an issue where competition can kind of just slide in there and just advertise a similar product. So that kind of affects you badly, because obviously if someone's like saying, oh, our price is 100 quid for this product, and then obviously a competitor comes along and says, and our price is 80 quid for this product, the customer's like, well, good, we'll go with the 80 quid option then. You've got all these sort of situations there which advertising can actually affect the situation. Next, you have newspapers. So these are cheaper than both TV and radio. Now, these have the benefit of being a little bit more, they're a little bit more trustworthy in a way, because you can make them look less like an advertisement. Because it's hard to kind of go, oh, yes, this is an advertisement. We're selling you something. We're here to sell you something. Buy it, please. Yes, we did pay for this to be here. Yes, buy our product. And especially when this is a bigger corporation, sometimes it's like, well, I wasn't going to buy your product before, but now I am, I guess, because I know you're advertising me, though. When you list all the benefits, you're not just someone saying, oh, this product is actually really good. You're saying, this is a corporation. So some of the benefits might be a little bit, suspect. And these are all these sort of things you have here. And it's an important decision. It's an important thing to, look at. Because if you're looking at it like this, you can't really always say things like, oh, okay, so this method is better than this method. Because newspapers have the benefit of being able to have that sort of thing where it's like, okay, this looks a little bit more legitimate, and this looks a little bit more reliable. Obviously, that brings into the problem of, for the consumer, having advertisements which are, that are not always the best, because they kind of mislead you. But, it helps to reach a kind of a local target market by advertising in a local paper. Now, you do have the issue of fewer people buy newspapers and watch TV or listen to radio. And oftentimes the issue would be this: newspapers have a very short shelf life. You know, you have a situation which is like, okay, so I've got a newspaper, but you know that I'm gonna put that in the bin tomorrow, or I'm going to go off and use it like the fire. So you're not able to always, get to that kind of thing where you could advertise on the back pages of a newspaper, and no one might actually read that. Because they'll be reading the front and be going, oh, look, the news is out of date now because it's, a week old. And that's also another thing. People don't always, read every day the news. Some people do, but the fact is that'll be costly because that means they have to pay for the printing each single time. And, there's all these sort of situations to have there, which is, it doesn't really... newspapers, though, they can definitely be a benefit there. Now you come to social media. Social media has one massive advertising benefit, which is if you got a straight up ad. If you have a straight up ad, you can advertise technically. If this channel is monetized, you can advertise on this channel and that 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 channel. You could advertise across hundreds of thousands of communities, and for very little. I think the cost is around half a cent for for the advertiser, and then obviously for the creator it's a little bit less because there's tax and there's YouTube cut and there's all the other costs that come to it. But for the advertiser, what the advertiser actually pays themselves is around, I think, half a cent for a view. So when you're viewing a video, you're not even costing that person even a cent. So at the end of the day, it's not. I mean, there are going to be situations which obviously it may not work out, but it's a very effective way realistically, because if you have a situation in which you kind of are advertising to like millions of people, essentially, you're spending a couple of grand, and go ahead, like 1 million views is around £1,000. Well, actually, 1 million views for the advertisers around 5,000 around. 5,000, sorry. But you know what I mean? The situation you have here is that you're able to advertise across loads of different spaces. So if you have the situation which is like, okay, so I have this system where I'm able to just advertise across here, and also you're able to do this, so that means that you're able to kind of advertise to more specific areas. So it's not the same as the sponsorship, because obviously sponsorship is like more specific, and also I think sponsorship is also more effective, really, because an advertisement is about like but like I don't select an advertisement. If I have a video and I go, okay, we're monetized, I can select I can select an ad. No, you don't really select ads for videos, so that means that you don't really have the ability to say, well, every ad you get before here is certified by me. No, that's not going to be true. So it's a little bit more problematic, because there is that sort of area where you're like, okay, so it's not necessarily going to have this kind of legitimacy, because people are going to go, yeah, but you're worse off than with the TV advertisement, because at least the TV advertisement can actually say, yeah, we allow this, we essentially allow this advert to be here. That's not to say TV advertisements aren't creepy and weird. Sometimes they are. Some TV advertisements can be very weird, but the point is that they're still, at the end of the day, looking at the situation which you do have more control when it comes to all these sort of things. And obviously, you could argue though that you can oftentimes interact directly with consumers by using this method of advertisement. However, there is an issue, because if you have this situation in which you are running a business and you have an advertisement or a social media site or whatever, and you start sharing off things, and then you gain a little bit of popularity, and there's all these sort of things that happen, and basically the area would be online. If you read something that's bad about a company, you might not buy something. It's also limited to the target market with the social media account. So not everyone will use particular social media sites, and not everyone will use social media in general. Oftentimes it's actually better not to use social media. It also depends on what you mean by social media. If you look at things like if there's a difference between, I might, let's say I might post on a social media site, but I may never look at other people's things. I may look at responses to my posts, but I may never look at other people's, things on a social media site. So obviously I'm technically using the social media site, but I'm not going to see any adverts or anything like that. I'm not going to see any promotions or anything like that. There's that sort of situation you have. There's all the sort of situations there. Next, of course, you have something a little bit different, which is the business's website. Now, the business can control all of the information on the website. Now, obviously, they can't, lie. Sometimes businesses will lie, but, they shouldn't be lying because, then there's Advertising Standards Authority. But it's also cheap to be almost, in some cases, free to have this method of advertising. However, the issue is if you don't have much traffic coming to your website, or all the traffic coming to your website are people who are already going to buy your products. Well, it's not like, see, buy our product. It's like, yeah, I was going to do that. Why do you think I'm here? Do you really need to remind me? I'm either going to buy it or I'm not. How much point at this stage, when one person is about to make a purchase, be like, buy a product. Like, kind of annoying me now. I might just go to the vet if you keep doing this. You've got the situation. You also have the issue of websites can be hacked, and if it is, there's all sorts of things that can happen. And one of the things is that you can lose access to all these sort of things. And if you want to have a situation in which a website is user friendly, so people will actually go, maybe I will buy a product from your website kind of advertisement, then you'll need it to be user friendly, and that will mean obviously making sure that you have user friendly websites. So obviously you may need to upgrade technology, and as technology progresses, keep in line, because you don't want to be like in 2022 being like, okay, yeah, I made a website and it's up to the newest standard, and then, but it's 2030 now. Look at this, see? This is the modern website. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but you know what I mean. It's the situation you have there, which is that you often have the situation which is like, you can't always do this. Now, next you have another method, which is guerrilla marketing. This is an advertising authority concept designed for businesses to promote their products or services in a non-conventional way. Sometimes it requires a high budget, sometimes it's a low budget. So this solution, it's like, it kind of varies depending on the extravagance of the project. This involves a high amount of energy and imagination, focusing on grasping the attention of the public at a more personal and memorable level. So you've got all these sort of things here that you might have. It's like, can you this, can you that? It's more imaginative, so it's not like, you are giving me an advert. I don't like that. I'm aware of your product thing, but it's like, what's that? Buy here. That's interesting. That's cool. Hello, can I take 10 of them, please? It's one of those things. It's like, you can achieve things better sometimes if you just don't go sort of direct with ads. But that's not to say, you shouldn't put ads and things. Please, if you want to sponsor the video or anything like that, do get in touch. Anyway, no, I'm joking. Or not. Anyway, my point is this. You can come back next time, view other videos, and subscribe to the channel. If not, It helps out, but if you don't want to do that, then I'll just say bye forever then, I guess, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of your existence.